This is what a MAGA mind is.
Brand spanking new Lexus SUV. How is that possible? Integrate into the same neighborhood that I worked my entire life to get into. I don't understand it.
There he is, right there.
That guy right
It's what Make America Great Again has always meant to certain people. It's never been about patriotism. It's always been about hierarchy, about making sure black people stay in a place that makes them comfortable. Because let's be honest, imagine living in a country where 400 years you receive every privilege available. Free labor for almost 2 centuries, millions of acres of free land through the Homestead Act, government assistance when black folks were excluded, white veterans received GI Bills as sent them to college when black veterans who served the country faithfully did not, white home ownership through FHA loans that black people didn't get while black families were redlined into poverty. There was affirmative action for white folks long before the phrase was ever even created. Let me name a few more. Tax benefits, union protections, government contracts, Social Security programs that originally excluded black labor, corporate subsidies, banking systems built on predatory denial of black access, policing designed to guard white prosperity, and the unspoken privilege of always being seen and deserving, and all that for generations. And yet here we are, after everything designed to hold us back, we still here. It makes them a failure. We're still educating ourselves, still building businesses. It makes them a failure. Still growing wealth, still buying homes, still pulling up in our Lexuses. That makes them a failure. We still thrive in the ways this country has never planned for us to thrive. And it makes them feel like failures. Because that's what they are. That's why it bothers them. Because to them, our success is what it is. It makes them failures. They feel better when they can look down on us. They feel safer when we have to struggle. They feel whole when we are broken. So when they say make America great again, what they are really saying is let's go back and reset the hierarchy. Let's put them back in their place, which is beneath us. Let's strip away any progress that they've made. Let's take away all their rights, all their opportunities, all the wins that make them feel equal. Because for us to feel equal, it makes them feel like failures. Because they've had every advancement known to man, and yet here we are, and that's why our excellence is so powerful, y'all. Because every time we disrupt the narrative they depended on for 400 years, every time we win and we break the system that was never designed for us to succeed, every time we shine, we expose the weakness of a structure built on stolen labor, stolen land, and stolen wealth. It's their failure. This is why our success is revolutionary. It's not just about your car, your house, or your lifestyle. It's a reminder that despite every barrier placed in our way, we still here, thriving, winning, and redefining greatness in our terms. And they are still what they are. Failures. Now drop a black fist.
This has been a problem from the inception, and I'll tell you why. Uh, my great grandmother was born about 20 years out of slavery, around 1885. My mother and father were born in the 30s, mid 30s, and I was born in the 50s. What has been happening and what they passed on to me is not to use uh, discrimination or racism that impacts me as a way to dissolve or to eliminate or to minimize my progress in life. And not use that, use it as a stepping stone to be better, to be positive, to interject something positive into my life. And so I think that's how I viewed the world and I viewed myself growing up. Now, it's been an ongoing problem from day one. This part of America, and I'm not saying all of America, but this part of America will not change. They will continue as long as they feel entitled and as long as they feel subjected to uh, what they feel elimination of their culture and of their people, they will continue to act like this. So for us as black people, everything that we see, it's not this shocking. It's not shocking because we know and we understand what it's all about. And one of the best things I think that about black people, we know who we are. We know where we're from. We know that we are a global superculture. We know that we are the people who are really the more majority in this world. especially in America. So anything that happens in America is not shocking to us. What's going on today in 2026, it's not shocking. We just find ways to adjust and ways to deal with it and ways to create options for ourselves in order to survive, in order to make progress. Let's listen to the rest of the video and we'll go from there.
In the comments and share this with someone who needs to hear this gem.
There is absolutely nothing that MAGA folks won't blame on people of color. Not because folks of color are actually to blame for any of those things, but because it's all MAGA knows. If you're out of work, must be because an immigrant of color or a black person took your job. If your taxes are too high, it must be because of welfare payments going to those people. Never mind the contradiction of saying that they take all the jobs, but also take none of the jobs because they're too busy relying on welfare rather than working. It can't be both, guys. You got to pick a lane, right? Kid didn't get into the college you wanted? Well, must be because a person of color got preferential treatment and stole their slot, even though the Supreme Court has essentially ended race-based affirmative action. You can't afford a home? Well, it must be because immigrants are taking all the homes and driving up the cost. Forget for a minute that they're also the ones building most of the homes, thereby driving down the cost, but, you know, whatever. Scared of crime? Well, it must be because black and brown folks and migrants are making the cities unsafe. Forget for a minute that crime has actually dropped, even as immigration has gone up, and immigrants have lower crime rates than American citizens, but, you know, whatever. When the pandemic hit, oh yeah, that was the fault of Asians, people of color, and their open air markets. When a door flew off a plane a couple years ago, Elon blamed it on a DEI program for pilots. And when a barge brought down a bridge in Baltimore, the right blamed it on the DEI mayor, which is just their new word for the N-word. To MAGA, white folks are never to blame for anything. Black and brown folks are to blame for everything. Why? Because MAGA is a racist cult. If your answer for every problem in America is people of color, you're a racist by definition. If your answer is Jews, you're a Nazi. And in either case, you deserve to be crushed utterly and without pity or mercy.
And this has been a problem from day one, from the inception as well. When you, as a race of people, and again, I'm not referring to all Americans, I'm referring to a certain group of Americans. When you use scapegoats to validate your failures in life, you are a failure. And there's something about this psychologically, emotionally, that has been happening for I don't know how many centuries from the inception. So when you use people as a scapegoat, when you use minority as a scapegoat because you have failed in your life, you're not any good to yourself. And what it does, it poisons the system. And this is what it's been doing for centuries. It has poisoned their systems, so they have nothing else to look forward to but discrimination and racism. It's a poison, and they've been poisoned for years. And let me say this: when your system is poisoned like that with racism, you no longer have a soul. It's like a man who kills somebody, or mass killings, or kills somebody. That person, you can see right through them. They don't have a soul. They do not have a soul. So without a soul, it's something that you have been given spiritually by God. You almost no longer exist in the world, other than what you can do to keep and dehumanize other people. Let's look at the rest of the video and we'll go from there.
MAGA fundamentally relies on not knowing or understanding things and then believing that ignorance is reality. Just take a look at this.
Which oppression was worse, the oppression of women or the oppression of African Americans or blacks?
They used to eat us.
Wait, what? Eat?
African Americans were eaten. Do they not teach this? They were eaten,
Do you
turned
think
into
there was
furniture.
widespread cannibalism in the United States in like the...
Yeah, so remember critical race theory? CRT? That mass panic that MAGA obediently got outraged about because they were told to? This is what it is. It's teaching people about racism and how it's affected a lot of things throughout our history, and teaching people about things that are shocking and painful and hard to hear, but are true. That's all it is. And there's the problem. They think that because they didn't hear about it before, it must not be real. Especially when it's something uncomfortable or painful to hear. This is how they approach it. Hey, you know something really horrible in our history is that back when people owned slaves, they actually sometimes literally ate their slaves. Isn't that awful? What are you talking about? What is this woke nonsense? That didn't happen. No, yeah, it's horrific, but they actually did. Like, they would use their skin to make leather for shoes and books. They would stuff pillows with their hair. George Washington had some teeth that were implanted that were originally slave teeth. Like, it's horrible, but it actually happened. No, you stop that right now. Now you're coming for Washington? That never happened. If that had happened, I would have heard about it. They would have taught that in schools. Well, the thing is that it did happen, though, and they didn't teach you about it in school. So that's why we want them to teach it now. They should teach it because, again, it factually happened. And it dishonors the memory of the people this happened to not acknowledge that or to hide that just because it makes us uncomfortable. No, that's CRT, and I will not have it. I will not have you making people ashamed of this country. But that's the thing. These things happened. They are facts. It doesn't matter how it makes you feel. Okay? It doesn't matter if it makes you ashamed of this country or ashamed of your ancestors who might have done these things. These things happened. And if that makes you ashamed, maybe you should be ashamed. That's the point of learning from history. Bad things happened.
The problem is that when you talk about people being ashamed, people have no shame. These people have no shame. When you resort to using people's skin as leather shoes and resort to eating people, you have no shame. You've lost all pride and dignity within yourself. So when we speak of shame and being ashamed, these people will never be ashamed because they have to face themselves. And that's something that human beings never want to do, is face their own shame and face their own indignities. They won't do it because it takes too much to overcome that. It's easier for them to stay in the same perspective that they've been in for centuries. So these people are not going to change unless certain things happen to them. Let's go on with the rest of the video and we'll go from there.
And you can still love this country. You can still be proud of this country, despite the horrible things that have happened. But it doesn't help anything to deny it. That's propaganda. That would be brainwashing. When people insist that our curriculum in public schools is only the good stuff, only the positive things, that is propaganda. That is brainwashing. That is indoctrination. True strength as a country, true patriotism, is being able to acknowledge the bad things that have happened, that this country has done and has been complicit in, and still being able to find ways to love this country and be proud of it. Because what makes this country great, and what makes us have the potential to be great or greater, is that we can move forward. We can learn from the bad things and not repeat them and make up for them and move forward as a country. Denying that they happened is not helping anybody.
So who remembers this guy from a video I made a couple weeks ago?
MAGA family, I was on TikTok Live.
People don't want to move forward. The worst fear in life is for people to say, let's make progress, let's make progress, let's move forward. That's the worst thing these people can do. Because at that time, you have to address your own fears and address your own inhumanities. You have to. But people don't want to do that because people don't want to destroy themselves. They don't want to destroy themselves. So it's best to continue to go along with what has been happening and the same mindset, the same racism, and the same craziness that they've developed. We say the world will not get any better until these people face what they have done and until they accept what they have done in this world. They're not going to do it because it destroys them internally. It destroys any little pride they have left about patriotism. It destroys it. So they're not going to do it. They haven't did it in 400 years. They haven't did it in the inception of the United States. And they will not continue to do it because it takes real people and human beings to dig down and look at themselves in terms of what they've done, because it's a fear that most people can't overcome. Let's look at the rest of the video and we'll go from there.
And a fellow Trump supporter said that all he needed was my vote. I'll never be part of the MAGA family. And that I'm black, I'll never be accepted, but he just got my vote. Nah, that's crazy.
Well, he's had a couple of updates since then. And one of them that I think is significant is this one.
MAGA family, you know why I'm MAGA? It's because the MAGA people have done more for me as a whole than black people, my own people, have ever done for me.
It's a family, one that treats him better than the black community ever has. You know, today's a day that a lot of people spend time with their family. How is he spending today?
MAGA family, I still haven't found anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. I reached out to some people that commented on my post from the Pennsylvania, South Jersey area, and I got no reply, which kind of really hurts my heart because I reached out to like a couple people and no one replied. And honestly, I feel like I'm not going to have anyone to spend Thanksgiving with.
And I'm guessing he's looking for somewhere to spend Thanksgiving, because in the video just before this one, he posted about how he wasn't welcome at his brother's funeral. This kind of reminds me of a story from a couple of years back. A 19-year-old kid in South Florida did a peel out on a rainbow mural that was in the middle of a roadway for Pride Month in his lifted truck with his Trump flag flying. In fact, I believe he did it on Donald Trump's birthday, and he got arrested for that. And then the judge actually ended up sentencing him to writing a paper about all the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. He had to actually look into each of their lives and kind of write a biography about all of them, which I thought was actually probably a pretty good way to go. In court, however, he cried. He cried and told the judge that he only did that because he had kind of gravitated toward Trump and MAGA because he was looking for acceptance and he felt like he was accepted by them. That's a tactic that street gangs use. That's a tactic that white supremacist groups use to recruit. We'll be your family now. You know, if you go to a Comic-Con or a horror convention, you'll see all these people who have come there looking for their people, finding community. And in those cases, it's positive. But if someone doesn't find a positive family, they'll find the other one. And here's a tip. If your family, if the people who are accepting of you are hateful of others, there's a good chance they're going to turn on you eventually as well.
Samuel L. Jackson breaks his silence.
And this is a problem with this young black guy who's a mega influencer or a mega person. There was some things he used and used his own family of black people as a scapegoat because he didn't feel he belonged. So what he did was say, I'm going to go over to the mega group. They'll accept me. And they didn't. And as of today, you don't see this guy anywhere talking about mega accepting him. Because one thing he doesn't know is mega will never accept him. His found family turned him away on Thanksgiving because of his views, his mega views. And rightfully so. And so when he went over to mega and said, can I spend Thanksgiving with mega family? And they told him no. He also tried to get into a mega meeting and they turned him away. See, this is what's happening with a lot of black people in America. of mega black people in America. They have shamed themselves. They have turned into people that nobody wants to be around. And as far as black people are concerned, hey, look, we don't want you back. We don't want you back. And this is what black people are saying to those black megas. We don't want you back. Candace Owens, we don't want you back. You can't come to the cookout. We don't want to be around you. Robinson, we don't want to be around you. Scott, we don't want to, Senator Scott, we don't want to be around you. Clarence Thomas, we don't want to have anything to do with you. No, we are the ones as black people who take the moral position that we are not going to accept our people who turn against us, who turn against America, the righteous part of America. We're not going to be with those people. We are the only people, the only minority in this world, in America, that will tell their people that. Mexicans won't tell their people, Hispanics won't, Cuban won't tell their people, anybody else. Somalians, they won't tell their people. They won't turn their people away and say, no, we're not accepting that type of mindset. We're not accepting that type of perspective. And black people are the only ones that will do that. We will turn black people away if they're not for one, black people, and if they're not one for true America, and an equal America. We turn those people away. We have no problem. We're the only race that does it. Let's look at the rest of the video and we'll go from there.
Silence and issues, a troubling warning about black celebrities turning MAGA. Samuel L. Jackson breaks his silence and issues a troubling warning about black celebrities turning MAGA. The legendary actor has once again made headlines, this time addressing a controversial trend in Hollywood. In a passionate statement, Jackson expressed deep concern over the increasing number of black celebrities publicly supporting MAGA, warning that such actions could have serious social and cultural consequences. He emphasized the responsibility public figures carry, noting that their influence reaches millions of fans who look to them for guidance and inspiration. Jackson urged his peers to consider the impact of their political stances, highlighting the importance of unity, awareness, and critical thinking in shaping public discourse. His candid words sparked widespread discussion online, with fans and critics alike weighing in on the delicate balance between personal freedom and social responsibility. The actor's warning serves as a stark reminder of the power and responsibility that comes with fame. And
this is the problem, is that, and I'll tell you exactly why you see these celebrities are posing for stepping fetching for mega, because these mega people are the same ones who owns these businesses, these corporations, the media corporations. And what these black celebrities is doing by joining mega is the companies are telling them, that's ran by white people, are telling them, we are your sponsor. We will take your money away if you do not join mega or have some of the same mega talking points. That's what it is about all these black celebrities. They want to remain valid. They want to remain in the in crowd. They want to remain and continue to make money. So when you've got mega people who own these media companies and these corporations, they're saying, we're your sponsors. You do what we tell you to do. And that's why you see all these people like Samuel L. Jackson has enough money. He don't have to be subjected to that. But these people who don't have enough money, like Candace Owens, and like this guy who was married to Mariah Carey, they turned MAGA because MAGA told them, we will cut your money if you do not adhere to what we want you to do and want you to say. That's what it's all about. It's all about money. It's all about greed. And I'm going to tell you something I said 30, 40 years ago. Greed has destroyed every great civilization. And unfortunately, we're headed to that point where America won't make it either if they do not turn around and think, hey, greed is overshadowing us. Greed is a problem for us. We cannot continue to go in that direction. And this is a serious problem. But some people say it's almost too late. But I truly hope that the minds of America, like Democrats have done for years, the liberals have done for years, or woke people, wherever you want to call them, they've always stepped in and saved America. Now, people are saying, Black people, help us, save us. Every group has said, Mexicans have said, why are Black people joining us? Somalians, why are not Black people joining us? Cubans, why are not Black people joining us? Because we've said this, we told you that. We've been here for centuries. And we told you what the game plan is. Even poor whites in this country, we told you what the game plan is, what they were going to do. They are going to just look after themselves. And you know what themselves are? Rich, the 1 or 2% in this world. This world is being destroyed, and they don't mind it being destroyed as long as they can build generational wealth. Understand, some people are coming to their senses and saying, hey, we need to vote these people out. They're not good for the average American. They're not good for middle-class American. They're not good for poor Americans. The gap is becoming wider and wider between middle-class, rich, poor, rich. So just chew on that for a while. And maybe at some point, America will come to their senses. The majority of Americans will come to their senses. Even those people who are poor Americans and middle-class Americans will come to their senses. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.